Howdy, y'all. Have I got a battle recap for you guys? This is a heavyweight match here. We've got Stegadon versus Sons of Behemat. Behemat? However you say that. But golly, we had 14 models total in between our two armies. So this one was a fun one. So let's go through the list real quick, and then we'll look at what happened in the game as I'll try to talk through it as quick as I can and not get sidetracked like I sometimes do. Here's a quick peek of my army. We are doing STEGGAGEDON to kinda. We're doing a little variation of it. I am doing Thunder Lizard, and I've got my Stegadon with Skink Chief as my general with Prime Warbeast, and that will be this guy back here. He's going to be my general. The artifact is Fusil of Conflaguration, which, as I say this, I just realized I did not use that the entire game. I don't know what it is about that artifact. I always forget about that thing. I think it's just because it's so close range. By the time it's in there, I'm worried about all the other shooting attacks. I swear I've forgotten that artifact so many times. Skystreak Bow, of course, on him. We've got another Stegadon Skink Chief. He's somewhere in there, and he's got also a bow. The Engine of the Gods, a Slann with Stellar Tempest. That's just kind of the spell I always take in case I run across hordes. I'm going to definitely change that in the first battle round at the end of the first hero phase to something a little bit more useful. So since obviously we don't have any hordes here, that spell's kind of useless. I've got 3 Stegadons as my battle line, all with Skystreak Bows, and a Bastiladon with the Solar Engine. I'm also taking the Bound Burning Head for exactly 2,000 points. So my plan is to get the engine and the Slann going. I'm going to try to spend my command points on the engine to try to summon in some bodies. Although, since I'm playing Sons of Behemat, those bodies aren't really going to help, to be honest, because you can't capture an objective with 10 guys against this army. So I'm going to hopefully get them up as screens so that I have a little bit more time to shoot and take down his army. This army is definitely a shooting heavy army, which is kind of weird because you got all these monsters in it. But you're shooting from range with all these Stegadons, hopefully slowing them down a little bit as they get closer to you, and then slam into them with the horns and kill them off in melee. That's the plan. We'll see how it works. Burning Head is there to give me rerolls 1. Nice little spell. And it fills out the army there. Sons of Behemat. I'm going to say that wrong. I know I'm saying that wrong the whole time. Yes, we do have a little bit of a proxy army here. We've me and one of my kids are making this one so that we can have some fun with some giants on the table, and it's pretty fun little army there. Well, little. This thing is huge. These guys are huge. They are running it in Taker Tribe. And we're doing Kraken-eater as our general with strong right foot. What that does is when this guy, the Kraken-eater, which is going to be this guy here, he's got his little catch of trophies there. His strong right foot, when he kicks an objective, instead of going 2d6, it moves 3d6. So that's pretty useful for him, for his special ability. And his artifact is a Kraken skin sandals. So that just improves one of his attacks, gives him more attacks, better rend, and more damage. We got the Gatebreaker, this guy back here that has a gate on his arm, and the War Stomper, which is this guy with the club, and then 3 individual units of the small giants. Equals out to exactly 2,000 points and an amazing 141 wounds between just 6 models. So this is a heavyweight fight. So we are playing on Border Wars, which is the objective in the enemy territory is worth 4. These ones in the middle are worth 2. And then your own is worth 1. And also vice versa. The tricky part about this is, he can kick this objective. And if he kicks it to this line, now it's worth 2 for both of us. If he kicks it into my territory, it's now worth 4 for him. And so that's the strategy I think he's going to have, is he's going to line up that Kraken-eater there on his objective and try to kick it forward so that I can't ever get 4 points from his objective. See how that goes. So here's deployment. And I've got, as we're setting up, I kind of overloaded one side. He deployed a little bit more even. He beat me on drops. He had 6 drops. I had 8, I think. 4, yeah, 8. And so I started deploying heavy over on this left side after he'd already dropped a Mega-Gargant over there. And so I'm going to try, my plan is, I'm going to try to use all these Stegadons here to take out that one as quickly as I can and then kind of press this side. If he gives me first turn, I need something over there to score because points are going to be valuable in this game. And then hopefully I can throw up some screens here with some Source Warriors summoned from the Engine of the Gods. All the while, I'm going to be shooting as much as I can. I'm going to focus fire on this first Gargant here. And that's the plan. He does, in fact, give me first turn. And against Suns, this is a good strategy for them to give away the first turn because then they will own this objective after my turn and they can kick it in their turn. So if he waited until, if he took first turn for some reason, then he wouldn't be able to kick it in that first turn. One thing you can't really see here, which is I find amazing, is 24 inches feels like a really long distance when you're deploying here. But those guys are so big, those giants. I mean, these proxies are they're the same height. They're from Mantic Gaming, Kings of War stuff. They're the same height. Those things are huge. And all of a sudden you're thinking, man, this 24 inches does not seem like far enough away from these guys. But you do have to close the distance a little bit so you can score some objectives and shoot. So my first turn, there's some army shots of the Stegadons. And I do get Burning Head out. You can see my Stegadon Burning Head there. And so it's going to try to support as many Stegadons and Bastiladons as I can. Bastiladon. I really wanted to keep it there with that Bastiladon just to help him out as much as I can. You kind of see that Bastiladon is in range, and those 2 Stegadons there are in range for the reroll ones. So there's my movement. Just barely get this guy up to touch and kind of try to swing this guy around. I'm hoping that he'll charge that guy instead of my chief that's right here, so I can countercharge with my chief. This one's a chief, and this is a normie right there. So that's my movement. I did get my spell off with the Slann for his board-wide spell, which was pretty nice. And I rolled higher than 10, so I got to choose D6 models to do D3 mortals to, and I got all 6 of his guys. And so I kind of plinked some mortals on all those guys. Wasn't a whole lot, but I think I got 3 on this guy, which was kind of nice. 2 on him, and maybe 1 on the rest of them, something like that. So now it's time to shoot. And that's what this army right here is about, this loadout. So the Engine of the Gods, the Engine of the Gods giveth and it taketh away. For the first couple of rounds here, you're not going to see any extra bodies on the table because I rolled extremely poorly on this guy. So we rolled 4 here, which gives me heals, nothing in range for that, or nothing's damaged for that. So it wasn't too useful there. We were able to put quite a few shots, all the Stegadon shots on the left side into the War Stomper Gargant over here on this left side and got 15 through total damage. He made a couple saves. It didn't roll too good, but it's not too far off. I wanted to do a little bit more damage than that. I was thinking maybe I could get 20 on him from all those shots, but didn't roll too hot. I used a command point on the Engine of the God to roll him again and rolled 3 1s. Yay! That should only happen, 1 in 200 rolls. So that was nice. He did D3 damage to himself. And I used another command point on the Bastiladon to shoot him again and put up some more damage into this Gargant here. This one shot into this little guy here, put some more damage on him. Actually did some decent damage. Those guys only have a 5-up save, so with our Rend, they have a 6-up, so I was able to get some damage on him. So that's how that turn ended. We ended up getting, 17 damage through to that guy, which feels good until you realize he has 35 total. So he still had a lot left to go there. So I score 5 points. I got the 2 in the middle and my own. And now it's on to his turn. Since he does own his objective after my turn, he kicks that middle objective. And yes, sir, he rolls 14. which once you see how far that goes, that crosses the midline. So he, on his first turn, he kicks that sucker all the way into my deployment zone. So now that objective is worth 4 points for him. Ah, man. Yeah. So already starting off good. So he kicks that objective there. He's starting moving his Gargant up. He doesn't really have much to do in the command phase. He runs this guy. He's going to try for a charge here into this Bastiladon. And he was going to do that so that he could get that small giant onto my home objective. In the Taker tribe, the big Gargants count for 30 models and the small ones count for 15. And as you can see, I only have 3 models on my objective. So if he can get the little baby Gargant onto my objective, he will score every objective on the table. And that is what he does. He makes 2 charges. He brings this War Stomper over here onto this guy, and the small baby one onto the Bastiladon. He knows he's not going to do any damage on the Bastiladon. He just wants the objective, which is smart. He doesn't do a lot of damage here. You know, all the Stegadons, they get that +1 to their save versus elite units, and these guys are definitely elite. And so basically my entire army is at 3-ups. You know, all these Stegadons are at 3-ups against whatever they're going to throw at them. And so I'm able to shrug off quite a bit. And Coalesced does -1 to the damage. So they have some attacks that are 2 damage, and those reduce those to 1, which is pretty nice. So I think he only did 5 damage onto that Stegadon on his attacks, which was pretty awesome. And over here, I think that 1 mortal came from the charge is what it was. If he had gotten another charge, he would have been able to do some damage to that guy because he would have bracketed him. But as such, he was only getting damage through on natural ones, which I didn't roll any. So he didn't do any damage in melee to that guy. Over here, I actually did, I think I did more damage back with the Stegadon than he did with the War Stomper. So that was pretty cool. Maybe it was just some lucky rolling. I did spend a command point on him, I think, from my general to give him +1 to his attacks. So that helps some. So that was the end of that combat, or that turn there. He owns every objective because, as you can see, this little guy made the charge, and he's on just barely, just tiptoeing on my objective. So he gets 2. He gets 4 for this one because it's my territory, and 4 for mine. So he scores 12 points. So it's up 12-5 after turn 1, which is crazy. That kicking that objective is pretty awesome, especially when you roll high like that and get it all the way into my territory. But roll off. As you'll see the story of this game, I'm surviving by the skin of my teeth on these roll-off priority rolls. So we both roll 6s, and I went first, so I win the tie. And I definitely take it. I've got to do some damage. I need to get some shots off and take these guys off. In my turn, at the top of the turn, I guess, Burning Head hits him for some mortals, and then basically just comes back and sits outside of 1 inch of all my guys. So it doesn't do me any damage, but it does D3 mortals to him, which helps out. And he's still giving a buff to me, well, and to him. He gives rerolling 1s to him as well. Get Mystic Shield on my Bastiladon to just help him out a little bit. And I think I may have failed the board-wide comment on the Slann that turn. Maybe. So now, here's after movement. These three Stegadons are all lining up to make charges there if they need to, if I don't do enough damage, or if I do, to make a charge that way. This Stegadon, I was hoping to pull in some guys here. If I could kill that guy off first and then double tap this to maybe bring in some guys. And then I'm going to charge him in there if needed. This Bastiladon is just barely outside this objective, which isn't going to matter because he's got this giant on it. So that's 30 wounds. I'm not going to be able to do anything. I'm not going to be able to do anything there. But so here we go. We're starting some shooting, and we get this guy all the way down. I think he may have had like 1 left here. I don't want to do that math there. That's 24, 25. So that may be what he started with at this turn before I start shooting. I've got everybody lined up. All the horns are pointed the right direction. Let's go, Steggies. And I did get a summons, but it was the summons at my first try, which meant I hadn't killed this guy off yet because this happens at the start of the shooting phase. And so I had to stay outside of 9 of him, which was way back here, which means these guys really aren't doing anything because they're not going to help me score an objective against this team. But maybe I can use them to screen later. So I'm able to shoot this guy off with the Bastiladon, finish him off. And that actually may not have happened until I charged in this Stegadon, because you see I charged him in, and I think that's when I killed him off, was on the charge. Also over here, I was able to charge in the Skink Chief. I took him up this way because I was able to shoot him down to just 1 health left with all these Stegadons. And so he charged over into that guy. And then this one, I need to make the charge into that giant to take off that last wound that he has. And he does. He charges that way, and the giant goes down. The War Stomper goes down. We just knocked him over. We don't. Yeah, I'm not going to mention it because every time the giants fell over and died, they went the other direction, which it wasn't going to be a big deal. It was some wounds here and there, which wouldn't have made a difference in the game, but it was just kind of that kind of day for him. Every roll, I was winning those roll offs and sending them the other direction. Over on that far right side, which was this objective up here, I charged into that guy after I had shot him with this and was able to kill the other baby Gargant off. And not really consequential, just nice to get rid of that extra unit, so maybe it wouldn't bite me later. So at the end of my turn, this is how the board kind of looks. I didn't really want to send my engine here. He's going to get killed. But I had to, and at least it's blocking this guy from coming in. The reason I had to is I didn't have a model on this objective, and so if he had come in further and just piled in and killed off some stuff here, he would have still had this one, and he could have then claimed this one. So I needed to get at least one model on there so he can't just go off of it and lose it. So I had cleared this Gargant. I had cleared all the baby Gargants. He only had 2 Gargants left, but they're pretty much full health. I think they only had 1 damage on each one of them. And so now it's his turn. It's time to get hurt. So there's the end of my turn. I score 3 points. Yeah, I do only score 3 points. 1 for mine, and then 2 for this one over on this left side, because he owns the other 2. So right now it's 8-12, and he hadn't even had a turn yet, the second turn yet. So in his turn, he moves in just to attack this engine, and he moves this guy around this way and makes a charge this side. So he's starting to work his way towards my home objective there. I know what he's doing. And in combat, the Kraken-eater kind of whiffed a little bit, I think. He did 8 damage to my engine, which my engine's on a 3-up versus him. But the Kraken-eater, especially with those sandals, has some good attacks, but they're all, -1 damage, and I'm 3-up save. So it was, and I may have used the command point to reroll ones. Maybe, I can't remember. He has good rend, but didn't quite do as much damage, I think, as he had hoped. Over here, he did quite a bit of damage to that guy. I did a little bit back. I only did 3 back, it looks like. And I was able to do 9 back to him as well. Maybe only 8, because I think he had 1. So these Stegadons, don't sleep on them. They're good in combat as well. A lot of attacks, especially I think I put the Constellation on this one to give him extra attacks. And I don't think I had a Stegadon General in range to give him +1 other attacks. It may have also been out of command points. So at the end of that turn, he kills off my Stegadon. Oh, yeah, it only had 12 wounds. I think I was showing 12 damage on him there. So he killed off the Stegadon on that side, and now that Gargant is free. I'm really in trouble if he wins the roll-off, because then he'll just come in and score 4 points here. He'll maybe he would double team on this guy with both of them. If I get the turn, I think I can kill off this Kraken-eater with all of these shots, but I've got to start limiting some of his points. So after round 2, he's got 18 and I've got 8. So it goes to roll off. Yes! We both rolled ones. Last time we rolled both sixes. This time we rolled both ones. And since I had gone first, I do get the turn. So, this was Slann. So I had switched his spell at the end of the hero phase in turn 1 over to Mystic Unforging. Nothing was in range yet, but I had a feeling he would be. And so as the Kraken-eater got close, he was now within 12 inches. And I cast that spell on the Kraken-eater. And then on a 5-up, you break his artifact. So I broke his Kraken-eater sandals or something like that. So basically I broke his sandals, which just makes his attacks not as good. Not a big deal, but felt good. So here's my turn into movement. I moved I guess, was that the top of the turn? That may have been, oh yeah, that was the top of the turn. So I had moved Burning Head onto his guy, which is going to give him reroll hit rolls of 1, but also was going to pick up these two guys into that buff. I don't think he was in. But I'm going to send all 4 of these Stegadon's shots into here. We're going to double tap Bastiladon into here. And we're going to send Engine of the Gods. Do you get the point? We're all going here. We got to kill this guy. And I send these warriors just kind of a screen around this way with the intention of eventually they're going to get over onto this right-hand objective is what the plan is. Not this turn, maybe next turn. I just got to make sure that I can get to that eventually. But also it's just kind of a screen. In retrospect, and you'll figure out why here in a second, I probably should have moved this Slann over a little bit more just to help block out the giant over on the right side. So we end up killing the Kraken-eater with all the Skystreak Bow shots and Bastiladon shots. We had to put everything into him. We put the whole army into him, spending command points on everything, but we were able to do it. Brought him down. So that's the end of my turn there. I capture back this middle objective, but it's only worth 1 now because it's in my territory. This one's worth 1. These are worth 2, but I only have 1 of them. So I own 3 of the objectives, but I'm not scoring very many points. I'm only scoring 4 points there. So I'm still behind. I've got 12. He's got 18. In his turn, he just says, okay, this is how we're playing. And he just walks right over the top of my source warriors. I think he had to roll a run roll. And you can see my 3-inch zone here. And he was able to just sit right here in the back. Since he counts as 30 models, he's captured my objective. And nothing I can do about it. So he's got this one, which is 4. And this one over here, which is 6. And this is quickly getting out of hand on points. So he does. He scores a lot. He scores another 6. So now he's at 24. And I'm at 12. I have to score a lot of points this turn. This is the end of round 3. If he wins this priority roll, it's game over. Because he'll have this one and this one again for another 6 points, and it's impossible for me to catch up. Because if I score everything, I'm only going to score 6 points if I score everything. We've only got 2 rounds left. I can only get a max of 12 points. So, as fate would have it, I win the priority roll again. Yes, I'm barely surviving. And so I'm bringing the heat. I'm bringing everything down. We're bringing these guys this way, and the Source Warriors to go capture that objective. I have to kill him this turn. I have to. There's no other option. If I don't kill him, he wins the game. It looks like he has 8 wounds on him, so I've still got a lot of work to do. I've still got 27 wounds to go through. But we start doing work. It looks like we got 20, what is that? I can't do math right now. 22. I put 22 on him in shooting total, so that helped. He's down. He's got 13 left. Now I've got to make some charges. And I'm charging in everything. I charged in my Slann because I have got to get those wounds through. I get 4 mortals, I think, on the wounds through these guys. And then it's just attacks. So this is not a hero Stegadon. I wish it was. All the other guys were outside of range. I had a couple. These guys right here would have just had to make long charges. They didn't make it, but the Bastiladon made like a 12-inch charge or something. In retrospect, I probably should have done +1 to charge from the Constellation, but I was just I wanted to get an extra attack on this guy. My general up here with Prime Warbeast, he got the extra bow attack most of the game, but I didn't quite get him in combat ever. So that was a little disappointing. But we go into combat here, and we get him. I strike with this guy. This Stegadon here doesn't kill him, so he's able to strike back, and he deletes the Engine of the Gods here. And I strike with the Bastiladon, and I'm able to kill him with the Bastiladon. So that was pretty awesome. He swung around, hit him with the hammer tail, and I think this time he does fall, and he hits all three of my guys, but at this point it doesn't really matter. So that's the end of that turn. I do score all the objectives, but they're not worth very many points. So I'm going to get 6 points this turn and 6 points next turn, and it comes down to a tie game. So there's turn 4, and that would be turn 5 for 24 points each. So that's how the game ends. It ends in a tie, but on Border Wars, if it says if you end in a tie, you go to kill points. And obviously, I've killed more of his army. I completely tabled the Giants, which was pretty awesome. It was a tough one, man. It was a tough one. I mean, I say that. I lost 2 Stegadons, an Engine and a Stegadon. That was pretty much the only thing I lost. But it was hard to overcome the lack of most people can't put 30 models on an objective. That's tough unless you have a lot of hordes. And so it was just you have to kill those guys off. You have to have a way to do it. And I was able to do it. If one of those priority rolls had gone his way, then he would have won, because he just would have been able to get so far ahead of me that I wouldn't have been able to get any points. I really needed to get some screens up earlier. Just couldn't roll it on the Engine, and then he kicked that objective into my territory, which was terrible. So he was able to score extra points on that the whole time. But a heck of a fun game. Some big old monsters on the table on both sides. So Stegadon, sort of. I kind of cheated. I had a Bastiladon in there and a Slann. I do like this list, though. I do enjoy this list. I think it's a lot of fun. It does have quite a bit of output. Obviously, I took out all the Giants, but it does struggle a little bit with objective claiming. It's either kill the entire army or you're in trouble. So, all right, that was a fun one, guys. I had fun with that list. I like this list. It's a little variant of Stegageddon that I'm enjoying. So, all right, guys, let me know in the comments. What do you guys think about Stegageddon versus Sons of Behemat? Am I saying that right? How do I say that? Let me know how I say that. All right, guys. We'll catch y'all later.